even Ranieri should be starting games. I don't have any doubt about that. After the Bolton game, after the Leicester game, I certainly don't have any doubts about that. Not in my mind. And I also remember talking about Gabriel Martinelli. I remember the last review I did after the City game. I talked about the fact that prior to that, we all know Martinelli's been having a really tough time, right? We know that it's been difficult for him to make the right choices in a lot of games, and this was going all the way back to last season. But I did say, what I said was that it's perfectly natural for a young talent, especially a very, very good young talent. It's perfectly natural that as they grow, right, there will be those moments, there will be those times when, because it's youth, you can't keep up that level of consistency in your football. That's if you could keep up that level of consistency on that level, well, then either you're going to be a Lionel Messi, or, well, I think that's just the only thing to say. You're going to have to be a Lionel Messi. But what is much more the norm is, as a young player develops, he goes through spells when decision making and approach play suffer. And this usually happens just before a young player kicks on to another level. It's a question of managing his confidence, managing his game time, especially his game time, because he's not going to sit on the bench and get better when that these kind of spells come. He's only going to get better by still playing, and I've given Mikel Arteta his flowers for that. Like, I've fully backed the idea of continuing to play Gabriel Martinelli even though he was not playing very well, because I said the reason he's not playing very well is because as a young talent you have these moments when your ability kind of like, you're not making the right decisions, you're not making the right plays. But if you keep the player's confidence, if you keep that faith in him, eventually he's going to come out of that phase. And when he comes out from that phase, you see that all the things he was not doing well, he will be doing them better. And so after the City game, I said that it seemed to me personally that Gabriel Martinelli was coming to the end of this particular tunnel that he'd been in, that he was getting to a place where, you know, he had begun to cotton on to what he needed to do as far as his game went. He had cotton on to the kind of tweaks to his game. And so for me, the game against Leicester was a full vindication of that, because he made the right choices. His actions, like, he did tire, but then that's also to be expected. But what is to be noted is, without a doubt, Gabriel Martinelli is getting back to his best, and I think we're going to see that play out. Fingers crossed he goes to the international, because I know the international break comes up this coming weekend, so he might get called up or he might not. The Brazil national team might, decide to still try other people, but I think that his game is going to get better. And yeah, so it was really good. Trossard was I mean, the way I say about Leandro Trossard, I just go like, if you need a goal, you need a nice cold Trossard, yeah, and he proved that again. And I'm not even talking about the second goal. I'm not even talking about the goal that made it 3-2. I'm talking about the goal that made it 2-0. There is an economy of movement. There is an efficiency of movement to Leandro Trossard, especially when it comes to scoring the goal. I think he can be guilty of holding on to the ball. He can be guilty of trying to dribble in the others places. Leandro Trossard has a very, very real issue of trying to dribble in his own third. I've seen it several times to be like, okay, this is the thing with this guy. He, for one reason or the other, he likes to try and play out of tight corners, especially just of his own final third. And sometimes I don't think that I've seen situations where he did that and he was caught on the ball. So that's just all I'm trying to say, like. But however, I am trying to say, really, in the 6-yard box, it's going to be very, very rare to see Leandro Trossard take 2 touches once he's in the 6-yard box. He has a deadly instinct to hit the ball first time. And he's so versatile, right? He uses both legs. He plays with both his left and both his right. In fact, the game against Leicester, I don't know if anybody noticed, but the first goal, right leg. And then the third goal, his second goal, left leg. Right? So he causes that level of chaos because he's very efficient when it comes to what is it. It's like once he's in the box 18, he already knows that I'm only in this box 18 because I want to score. So whatever the scenario that presents itself to him, however he sees the play, however the ball comes to him, I see that Leandro Trossard never has any other instinct than I'm scoring with my first touch as long as he's in the box 18. He can take any number of touches outside the box 18, but in the box 18, he's always going to go for it one time. And that kind of killer mentality, that kind of deadly finishing mentality, it's the kind of mentality that Arsenal need, especially when, because they don't have an out-and-out established striker. So Trossard is a really, it's crazy. And buys like Trossard are what we talk about in football when we say football is crazy. Arsenal spent the entire of that summer. Was it the summer or was it? It wasn't the summer. It was the January window. Arsenal spent the entire of that January window battling with Chelsea for Mykhailo Mudryk, and at the end of the day, they were ready to spend. They made an offer. We know they made an offer of as much as £88 million for Mudryk, only for Chelsea to just sweep in at the last minute, offer higher wages and a better payment structure to the club, to the selling club, and they snapped them up. And Arsenal pivoted to Leandro Trossard, who was a plan B. And yet over the weekend, I see the kind of stats that say Leandro Trossard has, what was it, 19 goals, right? 19 goals. He has 19 goals and 15 assists, compared to Mudryk's 6 goals and 5 assists. And you just be like, and the one with the lower numbers is the one Arsenal were ready to pay 3 times what they paid for Mudryk. 3 times, 4 times. They paid 20 something. They paid about 25, 27 for Mudryk, but they bid 88. They paid 25 for Trossard, sorry. They paid about 20 something for Trossard, maybe 27. But they made a bid of £88 million, basically £90 million, 3 times what they would eventually pay for Leandro Trossard. And yet, when you look at the numbers today, it just doesn't make sense. So yeah, that's something for, when we want to talk about statistics in football and all of that. I think it's something that it just reminds us that football is it's not all these numbers, right? We know that the data is important, but it doesn't tell the whole story. That's the truth. It doesn't tell the whole story of football.